What's up, you guys? What's up? We are back. We are back. Now, before I go live for the audio, man, just want to say everybody that's going to catch this later on, what's up? So I'll explain why I decided to finally do this video thing just out of the whim, right? So this is very green. So just now I was literally trying to figure out what the hell is going on this whole time. So I'm gonna do the intro on my audio because I'm not sure if StreamYard picks up the audio as well. So we're gonna get into this. Now, all right. What's up, my people? This your boy Mario. Welcome back to another episode of My Therapist Made Me Do This podcast with Mario and friends. I am, of course, Mario. Now, before we get started, for everybody that's going to watch this on Facebook and eventually YouTube in the next couple of days, make sure to tell a friend, like, comment, subscribe, and all those places right there. We're here to laugh, empower, and showcase. You can find me on all of those places here very shortly. Now, tonight's episode is about the strong friend, the one who's there at a moment's notice, through thick and thin, and down for whatever. But who checks on you, strong friend? Is your personal suffering ignored for the betterment of others? Is this the result of friends with too many problems, or is it self-inflicted? We'll be live tonight on Facebook. I thought it was going to be IG, but it'll just be Facebook tonight, to have a conversation that we've entitled The Strong Friend. So if you're sitting at home, I apologize. If you're stuck in traffic, I apologize. If you're sitting at home, go grab your favorite drink and let's have a conversation that I have deemed The Strong Friend. Be back in just a moment. I forgot to do the intro. No, I'm on mute. All right. Now we got the audio portion going good. Now, I have been off for the last 4 days, and this is per my therapist. So I know my therapist is gonna hear this. Hey, Jessica, how you doing? So she told me that I was burnt out from work, right? So she told me that my homework this week, among some other things, was that I needed to take some time away. So I took some time away. When I tell you I totally unplugged from work, I think I answered maybe 4 messages from work, and that was it. Like, I ain't listening to nothing else. But I did have a lot of time to do like some self-reflection. And one of the things that I thought about while I was just sitting here and marinate on the couch, I was like, man, you know what? Man, let's go ahead and try this little video thing and see how it goes. I just want to try to expand the reach and reach some different audiences, just talking to people on the whim. A lot of people prefer watching videos on YouTube. I think 90% of the people that listen to my podcast, they listen to it on the way to work. So your iTunes or what have you. So I was like, man, we're going to give it a go, man. So from now, whenever we do a podcast on Sundays or whenever, we'll do a live stream on Facebook, and then we'll do a live stream on YouTube, and then it'll just upload straight there. And then the audio, of course, will be out for everybody on iTunes and all that. So without further ado, man, feels good to be back in the seat. I do have some upcoming small businesses I got to get a hold of them before I start talking about what they have going up for us. So I'm super excited about that to definitely support a small business and get them some more exposure out here. So it should be fun. Now, I ain't gonna waste too much time because it's almost 10 o'clock. So I ain't gonna waste too much time. Now, the strong friend. So one of the things that my therapist has been doing a fantastic job of is kind of checking me when we're having conversations about different things, because I have a tendency to, when I like to call it convicting me of things, when she's convicting me of things, I will tend to bring out every other thing I've done to help other people, right? And she will immediately stop me, like in the middle of my ranting and all that, and be like, hey, that's great that you did that, but remember, we're here for you. And so I go back and forth with her a lot because I get really frustrated with when I don't have the ability to help people, like I always say, I was put on this earth to help people. And I think the further I go into therapy, I'm starting to understand why. And I'm going to kind of graze the surface on why, because a lot of this is a big part of my therapy and me coming up on a situation I got to take care of that I will definitely explain to everybody in detail when it happens. Now, being the being a strong friend, for me, some people would tell you it's an overrated experience, right? For me, I kind of take a lot of pride in it. So, like, even when it comes to working, right? I like being the go-to guy. Like when something goes wrong, I like for people to be like, it done hit the fan. Where's Mario? We gotta figure this out. Like this is one of the things that I enjoy doing. So when it comes to helping my friends, I kind of appreciate, people, coming to talk to me about things. So if you're ever in my office, you'll see that I have a box. It's a box of chips. And at first we started calling it emotional support chips. Well, no, we called it morale chips. Then we called it emotional support chips. And basically, whenever people are having a good day or having a bad day or whatever, they come in, they grab a bag of chips, and they sit down and they just start telling me their problems, right? Now, the whole point of it wasn't for people to come in the office and start telling me their problems or their issues. That wasn't the issue at all. Just, hey man, it's been a long day. Come grab you a bag of chips. You know what I'm saying? Come grab your bag of chips. We call it good. Uh, but it actually turned into something more when I tell you, like, people from all over the hospital that I work in. Ooh, that like not gleaming on my head. But when people come from all over the hospital, like literally don't even work with me. I don't even directly supervise them. They come from all over and will sit in my office and cry, vent, bitch, groan, all those things, right? And I just kind of made it like this mantra. So, like I said, going through therapy now, because I have been like the poster child for being the strong friend, I tend to go back to being a professional avoider. I would rather stop what I'm doing when it comes to helping myself to go help somebody else like get through their issues, because I feel like in some form or fashion I feel like I have to save them. It kind of goes back to the original reason I went to therapy, and we were talking about, Mario, you can't be Superman to everybody. Well, as much as people say that, I still think I can. Like that's just me. And my therapist hates it, and I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying very hard to get better at it. But there are definitely some lessons that I have learned in therapy that I definitely want to share with people. Now, some of these things are going to be things that we already know. It's not something that is going to be new to you. It's not going to be this stunning breakthrough, like, oh my God, like Mario has discovered the way to end being a strong friend. Because I don't. The problem that I've noticed in therapy and, just talking to other people, most of us know exactly what we supposed to be doing. We just don't do it. Now, that could be for a myriad of different reasons. For me personally, I will say, and this is one of them times I know when y'all listen to this and people send me messages, but like, man, I feel like you was leaving some out. Just so you know, I am. Just so you know. But a lot of why I am the way I am today is because of my upbringing with my parents, with my mom specifically, right? So my mom was a single parent up until, man, I think I was like 13. And a part of that, I would there's certain memories that I have in my childhood that stand out to me. And if you're listening to this, you'll understand too that, like, man, there are things in your childhood that people would never imagine that that you still remember. And I mean remember vividly, like it could have happened yesterday. So I just remember watching my mom scratching to make ends meet some days. Um, I remember playing baseball. I was actually, now let anybody else tell it that I wasn't that good, but I'm thinking I was the rawest of them all when it came to playing baseball. But one thing I did notice was that when we were warming up for baseball, all the dads would come out and they would be out with like their friends. So I would I would ask my mom. I remember asking my mom one day, "Hey, how come like all the other dads are playing baseball or they're warming up with their kids, just playing catch, like getting ready for the game? How come all the other kids are warming up with their dad and I'm not?" Now, my mom was never one of those people that talk bad about my dad, and so I don't really have a lot of resentment. Definitely have some questions as to why, you know, uh, he wasn't in my life, but I almost took this as a reason, as like motivation for like life, right? And I truly feel like the catalyst for why I am the way I am now is because I always felt like before my mom married my dad, they're like, man, I just wish that there was like a dad around. I had a dad around. And mind you, my uncles were super involved in my childhood. So, I wasn't like father figureless, right? Obviously, like coaches and things like that. But as I went through life, I always felt like whenever somebody was struggling or somebody had an issue, I needed to be there to help. Which brings me to my first point. People who are strong friends, and while this may not be your exact reasoning for why you're the strong friend, but I'd be willing to bet if you really sat down and thought about like your childhood and who and how you grew up and the people that were close to you and the people that were near and dear to you or who weren't close to you at all, there's probably a huge chance that they're probably why you're the strong friend. And one of the things that I have realized is that I naturally attract people that always need help. And it has been something that I've kind of talked through in therapy. And even when I leave therapy, I'm just like, man, like, why am I why am I like this? Like, why do I feel like somebody, like I have to take on everybody's burdens, right? But for some reason I do it. And here's the scary part. I actually do it really well. And I think that's what most people in life, you can give somebody else the greatest advice of your life. Think about it, I'm a medical person, right? I can tell you I drink scotch, I smoke cigars, I do the things, right? When I'm in a room with a patient, I will tell them all the reasons that's bad, like every last one of them. I tell them about like dieting, exercise, like all the things that I struggle with to a point. I will tell them all the things to do right. I can give you the greatest advice in your life. Think about it. If you go back and listen to some of these podcasts, you'll be like, oh my God. Like sometimes I kind of shock myself. I'm just like, man, that was some really good advice. But when it comes to giving myself that advice, that is where I struggle. That is where I struggle. So naturally, because of my upbringing, I feel like that I'm attracted to people that always need help. Like I gravitate to them and I make it a point to say, hey, if you need something, and this is my go-to line. If you need something, or if you need me to be there for you, whatever, let me know. And I know that's very cliche. And a lot of people, say that, but I genuinely tell people, like, no, I really mean this. Like, if you need something, like, genuinely let me know. So, one of the things that I have failed to realize is that when it comes to being a strong friend for everybody, I think we forget as strong friends that we're also human, right? And every day we're not going to be on. Every day is not going to be a day where you're going to have the greatest advice in the world to give people, because you're going to be going through your own thing. You're going to be fighting your own demons. You're going to be stressed out from work, from home, whatever. And you're not going to be able to be there for people like you normally are. Now, here's the part where I get frustrated at. And this is, like I said, this is so easier said than done. There are times when I look back and I'm just going through, And I have this really bad thing that I do that when I'm going through stuff, I just tune out everybody. Like I will literally go, as we say in the military, I will literally go calm out where you won't hear from me for a couple days. I'll be I'll be doing my own thing. And every now and then it'll hit me and I'll just be like, man, you know what? Like I'm normally this way Monday through Saturday. But on Sunday, I ain't like this. And you know what's crazy? I ain't heard from not one person. There's not a person that reaches out and say, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? Nothing. But me on the other hand, like if sometimes you can see or you can hear people going through things. Honestly, that like there's this lady I used to work with, and like she was like posting some real discouraging things. And I was like, man, they just don't seem like her. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to her. I was like, hey, how you doing? Blah 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 blah. But then I find myself saying, man, when the card is flipped, when the reverse Uno card is played on me, ain't nobody anywhere to be found. And one of the things that my therapist and I talk about a lot is, and it's funny because I share this with people at work too, the importance of setting boundaries. And you're gonna hear me say this is easier said than done a whole bunch in this podcast because it really is. Like I can tell you a million things that you should do, and it might feel like I'm a subject matter expert on this, but I'm probably a failure on the subject at hand, to be real with you. But even in friendships, relationships, all those things, the importance of setting boundaries is so important. And part of setting those boundaries is learning how to be a little selfish when it comes to your own mental health, your own well being. And for example, if I'm doing this for person A all the time, right? When I'm going through, you know what I'm saying, and I'm just not in it, I'm just not in the mood to do the things, it's gonna feel rude. But it's okay to say, man, you know what? I hear you. Like that's super unfortunate. But man, you know what? I'm really not in the right headspace to be giving anybody any kind of advice right now because I got ABC going on, right? And being firm with that. And even if the word friend I use very loosely now, but when it comes to your friends, man, like you should be able to people that you consider your friends that you confide in, you should be comfortable enough to speak those things to them and they totally be okay with it. Like they understand, like, hey, gotcha. What's going on with you? Now, if you find yourself constantly making these kind of comments and you're telling your friends, like, hey, I ain't with it right now. Like I ain't feeling it right now. And you're not getting anything back from that, we should probably have a different conversation on what you consider your friends are. Because we have to remember that a lot of people have a lot of traumas going on. They have trauma bonds, they have uh mental health, they have things that they have not rectified or addressed. And the scary part about like trauma or crisis or traumatic situations that you go through in life, like people will almost be in this mode of desperation where I don't care who listens to me. I just need somebody to listen to me and tell me what to do next. And unfortunately, we are surrounded, and I ain't just talking about me and Jessica, but we are surrounded by a lot of people who have a lot of traumatic things going on in their life that they have not made peace with or brought closure to include myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's important to realize it like, man, this is my boundary, like this is my wall, and today ain't the day for it. And if, like I said, if your friends aren't okay with that, or they kind of, turn a blind eye to you, or they cut you off, so be it. I mean, personally, if you're a listener of this podcast, you kind of went through my own personal journey of learning how to deal with people who I considered friends. And when I was going through something personal in my life, like something that I just really needed to take a step back from all the things, I made sure I relayed those things to them. And when I related to them, they all cut me off, like one by one, like stop talking to me. And as hurtful as that was, because I've always been the person that people go to for advice. I'm always the person that's, checking on you and making sure you're okay. And for that to happen to somebody who's considered a strong friend was actually real painful. And it took me a long time to get over that whole situation. Because really and truthfully, when you call people your friend, that, like I said in the intro, through thick and thin, right? Like we are supposed to, through the good, through the bad, the good times, the bad times, how whatever it is, you're supposed to be there for me, like I'm supposed to be there for you. But again, people are dealing with traumatic experiences and people haven't brought closure to a lot of situations in their life. So it's easier for them to bombard you with whatever they going on, whatever they have going on, because they know that you're going to be there to do it. And that's the hardest part about being a strong friend, because even though we know, that's why I say I'm going to give y'all some advice, but it's advice that I definitely should keep to myself. I should keep for myself. But we know good and well, like, hey, we not in a position to do this, but because we have whatever going on in the back of our mind, and at least this is me personally, I never want to feel like, man, the one person that comes to me for advice, that comes to me for help, and I'm not there for them, that'll be the one time they do something traumatic. Like they'll do something crazy. And it's this never ending circle of like, putting my own personal issues to the side, or putting my own unresolved issues to the side and trying to help somebody else. Which brings me to my next point. So we talk about setting boundaries, right? And understand the importance of setting those boundaries and being firm in those boundaries, more importantly. Like you have to be meaningful in the relationships that you have, and you have to be purposeful in the relationships that last longer than a season. And unfortunately, a lot of us, we go through a lot of seasonal friends because of situations like this. However, the next point, always remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you want an analogy, I can have a jug of water right now, and all of my kids can walk in here and we all thirsty. And I'm pouring glass of water for them to making sure they thirst, it's quenched. Everybody's good. Everybody's happy. All is well. There's going to come a time when that bottle of water runs out, and everybody around me they'll be good to go. Won't nobody be thirsty. Everybody be fine. All is well in the world, right? But then when it's time for me to turn the bottle up, I got nothing, because I have given all I've had to a bunch of people without taking care of myself. It is probably one of the biggest detriments to my life, and honestly, like seeing it through other people. I have somebody I work with right now. They work in a separate cell with somebody else, and this person is going through a lot of life. Like when I tell you life is kicking their ass, life is kicking their ass. And sometimes you have to let people um, go through to grow through, right? And even if that's not like the best of situations, right? And understanding like, man, you know what? All of this is happening for a reason. There's a purpose for why you're going through this. Now I ain't saying you just leave them out high and dry, but like, man, sometimes you just kind of be there to, they stumble and fall, and you help them back up along the way. Well, this person has kind of taken it upon themselves to like double and sometimes triple the amount of work that they have, because they're trying to make sure that things get done. Now, these are things that this other person is more than capable of being responsible for. And instead of, still putting the onus on that person to say, hey, this is still your job. This is still what you're supposed to do. This is what you get paid to do. They don't do it. And in a sense, it has created this, uh, I guess you can call it an enabler mentality. And this kind of jumps back to, going with your friends. If you're constantly holding the line for people, regardless of what they're going through, all day, every day, when people understand, when people know what your buttons are, and they know what makes you tick, and they know the things that get you out your seat to help them, they will legit become enablers of your vulnerability. They know, man, you know what? Regardless of what I got going on, I know if I say this, Mario gonna get up and he gonna help me with whatever I got going on. No matter what kind of life he got going on right now, whatever kind of stresses he got going on, I know if I say these magic words, this is gonna get him out of his seat and he's gonna help people. Unfortunately, like I feel like I talk about friends, the word friends, a lot on this podcast, and because it's something as I get older, I think I have a very different purview of what friend means to me, and I like to say this, and it took me going through what I went through to understand this better. But man, you truly can't call in Mario's opinion, you truly can't call people a friend unless they have went through some kind of traumatic experience with you, and not where the help that you receive or the help that you give is to their benefit. Like it literally has to be that we are both equally going through some whole nonsense right now. And to me, in the midst of those like really dark days when you feel like everything is going wrong, the people that stand there with you when the dust settles, those are really your friends. And those are the ones that when you are going through something and you have those boundaries established, those are the ones that say, hey, Mario, you ain't been yourself lately. Like, what's going on? Like, everything cool? Like, what's up? Those are the people that are willing to go through the trenches with you because they understand that iron will always sharpen iron. And they understand that, hey, if your cup is empty and my cup is always full, then that's an imbalance somewhere. So you can't be effective for me. There's a lot of give and take in relationships and friendships. But if I'm always giving and there's no taking, I'm not providing back what I'm getting poured into, then that defeats the whole purpose of being in the friendship, to be honest with you. So if you don't take anything, I'm doing good on time. If you don't take anything else from this message, um, take this, man. Everybody, and I say this a lot, and I'm very unapologetic about it. Sometimes the nicest, sweetest people can be the shittiest friends, and that's just the honest to God truth. And being very mindful and having your discernment when it comes to people's actions and how they do things will save you a lot of heartache in the end. And I would tell you, like part of my boundaries, and I've done so. This part I've actually done really well on. One of my pet peeves is people that always have problems, and I mean, like it's almost like their day is fueled by drama. Like they have to have some kind of drama or some kind of traumatic experience going on every day for them to function. And it's to the point where it got to the point where I stopped calling certain people because I'm like, man, I know every time I call this person, I can be like, hey, what's going on? And then they will just open up the floodgates of all these things going on. And I'm like, dog, you can't seriously have this bad of a day every day. Reminds me of this rapper that my son listens to. Jesus, what's this man's name? Man, it's gonna make me. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he's known as always being like the sad, depressed guy. And I tell my son, I'm like, man, like, you need to stop listening to this dude because literally somebody on Twitter told him, like, man, just shut the hell up and have a good day, bro. Like every day, every day can't be this terrible. But if you don't start somewhere, start there. Like when it comes to boundaries and saying, man, hey, I love this person. I mean, I want the best for this person. But every time I talk to them, there's always something. So instead of talking to them every day, go a couple days without talking to them because you yourself have to have time to recharge from other people's foolishness too. Don't take that off the table either. But you have to give yourself the opportunity to prepare for the nonsense that people are gonna throw at you. And if you don't, then you're just gonna get bombarded with everybody else's problems, and you're gonna be in therapy just like me every other week. That's just the nature of the beast. That's just what it is. But learn to set boundaries and understanding that I can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't remember nothing else from this podcast tonight, set boundaries. Make sure that the people who are in your life are purposely pouring into you and you're purposely pouring into them. What you don't want is to be a mousetrap for people's problems every single day. Because it's normally the same people over and over. It's normally the same people. Now, if you like me, you kind of have, I don't want to say tiers of people you associate with, but I have tiers of people I associate with. And I know that there's certain people that when I reach out to them, I already know this is what it's gonna be. Like I know it's gonna be something. But there's other people where they kind of on paper, like it looks like they have their life together. And the conversations are very different. But those are also the people that I pay a lot of attention to because I see a lot of me in those people. And a lot of times behind like the smiling and the joke cracking and all those kind of things, behind all of that, man, there's somebody that is going through a whole world of hell. And this is where, just like your discernment should be on about people who are going to leech from you or who are going to pull from you or are going to drain the life force from you because they have whatever the hell they got going on, man, the opposite kind of applies to people that don't normally complain about things. Because one of the things that I have learned is it's been to my detriment. We just being like full disclosure here, but I was like holding things in, and somebody else, somebody else is like very. Oh, she's looking at me. Somebody else is very guilty of this too. Like they like will keep things in, and it's almost like, oh, that's not a big deal. We cool, but then we will eventually just have things that like snowball and snowball and snowball, and then out of nowhere you just explode out of nowhere and you don't know what the hell happened. So paying attention to those people eh, where it seems like everything is okay, you might want to keep a closer eye on those people. Now, the good part about having friends that, if there's such thing as a good part to this, but a good part of having people that kind of drain from you a lot, you always know where they stand. And like I said, when you establish those boundaries and you kind of see where people stand, it's kind of up to you to determine how much of this nonsense you willing to tolerate this week and how much of this you willing to move on from. But people who are normally like that are kind of the ones that you really got to keep an eye on. You really got to keep an eye on, like because like I mean, life is kind of crazy right now, so everything can't be a joke. Perfect example, like comedians, man. They say comedians are some of the darkest, most depressed people ever, and they literally go around the world making millions of dollars for making people laugh. But they literally have the most undiagnosed or unpronounced like issues that they've been harboring like probably since childhood that they don't address. But sometimes to shield those things, they become, and I'll say we become professional avoiders, where it's almost like instead of me addressing like a part of my homework I have right now with my therapist, sometimes I almost hope that somebody reaches out to me and says, hey, this is what's going on. Because it gives me an opportunity to put a wall up against the things that I should be addressing for my own breakthrough to focus on that. And it is literally the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. So I wish I could see the look on my therapist's face when I tell her this, because she just be looking at me like, man, this might be the dumbest person I've ever seen in my life. But it's true though. It is 100% true, man. I'm definitely trying to get better at it. I definitely am trying to get better at it. But I think sometimes it's hard, especially from a position of leadership where I am now. Like I'm in charge of like 58 people. So that's 58 different problems every single day that I have to deal with. So sometimes it gets a little difficult uh, when you don't, because some of the issues that people come to me with are pretty heavy. Others are just like just kind of stupid personally, but it gets kind of difficult sometimes, and it actually is like almost puts a table on whatever I got going on because then I have to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, if nothing else, be better than me. Be better than me. If you don't do nothing else, be better than me. Um, I'm still working on it. Like I said, I'm really excited and nervous about this next chapter of my therapy because I really feel like it is going to really like pull the wool off of a lot of issues I have and have had in my life from being a professional avoider. Yeah, that is it. So, man, not too bad. We had 36 minutes. That's not bad. So, man, everybody's gonna listen to this. I'll do a better job promoting. Normally, I see now I gotta do it a couple days earlier. But like I said, we're gonna start streaming on the YouTube page or the Facebook page, the YouTube page, because that has been extremely difficult. I didn't realize how hard it was to like go back, find old episodes, and upload them with no video. Um, it literally would take me. I don't even want to know how long it would take me because I have to go back and find the photos for the pictures. It is incredibly frustrating. But nonetheless, man, I appreciate y'all for listening. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. I'm excited about this piece of expansion that we have now where we can get more listeners. And I'm really just like I said, my goal every day is to just help people provoke a little thought. And if we can get the water cooler conversation going, then so be it. But as always, man, our goal is to, if you get a good laugh, great. But otherwise, I want to make sure we empower each other to be great and we showcase those that are being great. So, as always, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. Um, Homie shout outs. My boy Adrian, I Respectfully Disagree podcast. Make sure you go check him out. Willie and Fiona. Willie, I know you listen to this. I know you're listening to this. My wife asked me today. Actually, she probably asked me a couple of times, like when we were going to get together and do the podcast. So I just need to find a date and time. Do we have a date or time that works for us? No. You mad? Oh, just shrugging her shoulders. She mad. But nonetheless, we will find a time to get up with you guys. I think that would be a great conversation to interact with you and your wife, Fiona, man. That would be dope. The thing about this podcast, definitely go check them out. My boy CO, the Complicatedly Misunderstood Hour. So he actually is on, he does a sports podcast as well. So, man, go support my guy over there, man. Go support him and let him see what's popping. We still have some more t-shirts left. We still got some more t-shirts, man. I gotta get rid of the t-shirts because I need to order some more as about to get summertime. But I want to get rid of the ones I have now because I want to get some more. So if you're interested, shoot me a message. Let me know. Yeah, that is all I got, man. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Let me play with this little thing. Now I'm excited. Tell a friend and tell a friend about the podcast. And as always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're on Good Pods, Instagram, Facebook, and now YouTube. So this podcast will be updated or uploaded on YouTube tomorrow. I think I got like an hour left before they actually will allow me to stream, which is super annoying. But nonetheless, man, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for listening as always. And we out.